Another flash. Nick Hallett of the BBC. Can you comment on Pope Francis's response to your book, and were you surprised? I willed my glasses not to fog up in the face of flashing cameras and rapid-fire questions. I did not want to see my face in some newspaper column the next morning, looking like a startled rabbit. Thank you, Nick. Well, I know that since Pope Benedict, and now with Pope Francis, the Vatican has been widening its theological doors on this topic. So I really welcome that. I think that's a real encouragement for all people to explore the kind of topics my book touches on. But I have to say at this point, I haven't yet had the opportunity to really reflect on the papal statement. It was only released half an hour ago, just as I was on my way to you. Flash. Michelle Block, NPR. Mr. Wallis, you're making huge claims about Bible translation, archaeology, DNA research. According to my research, you don't have qualifications in any of these fields. So why would a writer need to take the claims of your book seriously? Thank you, Michelle. That's a great question. I guess a core part of what people look for from their pastors and preachers is for us to try and make sense of the scriptures that we preach from. A big part of that is carrying people's questions, wrestling with them, and doing that openly. I've been doing that for more than 30 years, and that's really what I'm doing in this book. Now, there are plenty of times when I have to stand on others' shoulders. That's why in my book I go to some world-class academics and researchers, people who've given their lives to their fields. So a lot of my questions have taken me to those people. You can think of my book as a kind of documentary, sharing the preacher's journey with the reader. My hope is that this little book will be a way in to some of these amazing areas of study, especially for people of faith. Another flash, just as I was looking down at my notes. Ted Avery, Fox News. Paul, you say it's for people of faith, but in what way can you call yourself a Christian when in fact your book pulls the rug out from under 2,000 years of biblical interpretation? The two theologians you held up were both condemned as heretics. Doesn't that mean your position is built on heresy? Can you name a single Christian leader today who was willing to raise their hand and support any one of your book's ridiculous conclusions, other than Pope Francis? I have to say this line of questioning was not a complete surprise to me. Faith and new ideas do not always make easy company. I thought of my friend Vince. He was a senior theologian for many years for a heterodox Christian sect. He found himself out on his ear when his careful study of the Bible led him to conclude that their particular sect had not got all its biblical translation right. Better translation meant that their sect could not claim to have exclusive access to the kingdom of God. When Vince sounded out his senior colleagues, they all told him the same thing. We know. We realized that years ago. Just don't mention what you're thinking to headquarters. Without that brick in the wall, they feel the whole house will come falling down. Don't do it, Vince, or they'll kick you out. You'll be shunned. We couldn't do it. All our friends and family are in this movement. It's our life. Mainstream denominations aren't so different either. 100 years ago, a Baptist minister, having served more than a decade as a professor of Semitic languages, suddenly found himself disendorsed and out of a job. That was for publishing papers that only went half as far as my new book. I don't say that in any way to be judgy about church and faith communities, because at the end of the day, we're all creatures of habit. It's not easy to change our minds. None of us is ever really prepared to wake up in a universe that's different to the one we fell asleep in. I knew that my book would ruffle feathers, and maybe even lose me a friend or two. My editor had run theological gauntlets like this himself before, so I was pleased to have him at my side as the questions continued. Flash. Hugh Grant from Horse and Hound magazine? It was all too imaginable given the topic of my new book. Perhaps I should have written another gentle devotional book, like my previous offerings on Celtic spirituality and Eastern Orthodox mysticism.